Hello, 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 boards community, and thank you all for joining us on this amazing day. And can you believe it? 2024 is slowing us down to the ending, and which means it's the selling season, right? It's October 22nd. We're so close to Halloween, which is that huge marker milestone when we think about our businesses. Okay, Halloween is here. It is selling time. So I cannot wait to introduce you all to some incredible friends of mine to help us get into that selling season and start working through some holiday sales strategies. So let me first introduce to you my friends, Jamie and Heather. Both are global direct selling leaders, both earning into the seven figures. And we want you to know that we are digging into deep strategies that are going to get your business moving. But I'm going to give you a caveat: only if you commit to it this season, okay? We can tell you all the things to do, but we're going to need your commitment here to get started on thinking about your selling season right now. So if you are ready to go and you're ready to meet my friends, drop a 1 in the comments so we can see you. And just to let everybody know who's joining, this will absolutely be recorded, and you will get the recording in your inbox shortly after we go live. Look at all the ones. We are ready to go. So let me bring on my friends here. We have Jamie Walker and Heather Neonoris. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hi. This is so fun.
This is amazing. And I have to first and foremost thank you on the behalf of the boards team and all of our users joining us today. We thank you so much for joining us and giving us the insights that you have into your sales strategy, getting ready for this holiday. So I know before we even dig into it, we might be thinking, okay, it's October. Why are we talking about this right now? Like, it feels really early, right?
It does feel early, but I don't keep one of those calendars telling me exactly how many days, but I know that it's all going to be hitting us very, very soon. So, it's time to start thinking about it.
You're right. So what I want to do is during this session, just to give everybody a little bit of a little bit of what's going on, is that we're going to go through a few questions, and then we're going to have these experienced direct selling leaders growing their teams literally all over the world. They know what they're talking about. So I'm going to set them up with a few questions, and we're going to let them completely just run with those answers. So take notes, and we are going to be providing you some extra content at the end for you to get going and implemented. So we do see some people. I just want to address just a few of the comments. We definitely are live. We do have people seeing us, so I think we are good to go. So if you're having, I don't know if we can see, but if we can share in the chat, my support team, if you could just let them know if they need to rejoin, that might be the solution here. So let's start with tips for our viewers here, that they are just, it's been a long year. We've all been through a lot, and I know that you ladies have too, but how do you turn on that? What are the tips for getting your mind in this mindset? It's time for selling season now. This is that time of year.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you said, Renee, Jamie and I have done this for a pretty long time. We're, I think, going on 12 years now. And so over those 12 years, we've learned a lot. We've tried a lot. We've thrown a lot of spaghetti on the wall, so to speak. And we've learned what works and also what doesn't. There's my dog. We've also learned what doesn't work. And so for us, one of the things that we've learned over the years is that you can't wait until December and throw a few posts up and expect that somebody is going to buy whatever it is that you're selling. It really does start now in this October, early November period. And not just by promoting your products or promoting our products, but by adding value to all of the people who are following you and are interacting with you on social media. Because when we can get out of that mindset of thinking, okay, I just want to sell my products, but really focus on the individual person and become somebody that person trusts. Well, guess what? When it comes time to the holiday season and they're making those decisions about what to buy, about who to listen to, your name is going to be first and foremost in their brain because you've been building over time, and building that loyalty doesn't happen overnight.
I think too, with the mindset, it's all about, we can only control so much in anything, but especially in this business. And we can really only control our actions and what we do and how many conversations we have and who we're connecting with, right? We can't really control the result of those actions. So keeping in mind that I am in control of my time, my energy, the connections I'm having, the conversations I'm getting in place, knowing that I can only control that, I can't control the outcome, really helps allow me to kind of open up to the value add versus sale. And especially in this season and this time of the year, focusing on that value and how you can serve others in all kinds of capacities, not just with your products. It just makes it feel less, for me anyway, it makes it feel less conforming, right? Like I just have the ability to serve.
Absolutely.
That's when you're talking about this whole mindset and serving, what I'm hearing you scream is the reason people are shopping with you is because you are making this connection with them. You are showing them, who you are as a person. You are creating, you're setting your mind into like, how can I serve my community, the people that follow me, my friends, my customers. You're thinking about this service mindset. That's kind of what I'm hearing from this.
Yeah.
Like taking away this service mindset, not necessarily while we're all talking about sales, we're like, oh my gosh, everybody's spending money. How can we get them to spend money with me? You're telling us to turn our minds into serving your community, serving your following, serving your customers. And I think that that's an amazing place to start, especially right now, to set that tone.
I think for me, a big change in my business was when I decided, or not decided, but kind of realized that my business had nothing to do with me and everything to do with the people that I could impact. That was a huge shift in how I approached it and really the success I had too.
That's absolutely incredible, because without them, we don't have a business. You don't have a business without somebody to serve. So I know they're itching for the answer to this one. That sounds really great, Heather. That sounds really great, Jamie. Now that I'm thinking about this, right, who I'm serving, I'm going to pull this question up so I make sure I get it right. So how do you become more relevant to those people that see you in their feed? They may never talk to you. They may never even like your post, or they may never even comment, and you don't really remember how you made a connection with them at some point. Was it like 5 years ago on a vacation and you just met them in the airport? We all have those friends in our Facebooks and our Instagram. So what are you doing to become more relevant to those people? And how do you start attracting more?
Yeah, I think, one of the big things, again, a realization that Heather and I made over the course of the years that we've been doing this is that I am not my products. I am not the brand of my products, but I am the brand of me. And that I represent a lot more things than just the products of the company that I'm with, right? I have 6 teenagers. I have 3 dogs who will bark. I have a husband who's in mental health. I have, we're talking about the sandwich generation. There's so many other elements to who I am and the things that I know. I cook dinner for, 8 people, 5 nights, just things like that. So realizing that people are curious by nature, I'm nosy by nature. I tell other people they're curious. I'm really just nosy. But people are curious and they want to know about you as a human, not you as Susie saleswoman. And so that, becoming relevant and adding value to people's lives is by sharing the brand of who you are, the things that you are. If someone, if you ask somebody, what do you think I'm an expert in? I would have people tell me that I'm an expert in being a sports mom. I am an expert in Canva because I love playing on Canva. I would have, people come to recognize you for things. And those are things that don't have to be big, flashy, Instagram perfect reels. It's just real life. And when you start to share those elements of yourself, you become more relevant to the people that want to get to know you and want to learn to trust you.
A good way to think about it, you guys, is looking at your social media profile, right? Like, here's my Instagram page. Think about it like a movie theater. I don't go to a movie theater to watch the previews. I enjoy watching the previews. I enjoy seeing what's coming, but I'm there to see a specific film. People are going to pop onto your page to see all of those things that James just talked about, right? The recipes, the little glimpses and the bits of your life. That's what they're there for. And the more that we can get them coming to our theater, the more likely it is that they are going to see those previews, right, in their feed that may or may not have something to do with business. But it all starts with you. It all starts with our personal brand and attracting people to our products eventually because they trust us enough to know that we're going to be recommending something that's going to add value to their lives. Jamie, I know one of the things that I always ask Jamie about, she said, what do people come to you for? She has 6 kids, right? She's 16. So I'm always like, okay, I need help. What do I get, my 12-year-old son this year? What do I get my 10-year-old daughter? Because she has a lot of experience buying really good gifts for kids. And so through that, she came up a couple of years ago with this concept of the gifting guides, and it's worked really well. Jim, explain how you've always done that.
Yeah, so I've always I love gifting. I am really good at gifting. I'm not good at wrapping, so it's never going to come to you pretty. It might still be in the Target bag, but I will find a great gift. And I love finding the unique stores that maybe we're not familiar with. And I just kind of keep track of those things. So especially at the holidays times, I'm trying to kind of combine different resources, retailers, and coming up with different pockets of people. Like, think about who it's hard for you to buy for. It's really hard for me to buy for my mom. It's really hard for a lot of people to buy for like nieces and nephews. So not their own kids, but other people's kids. And then you think about like the teacher gifts and, the coaching gifts and things like that. So I've always just kind of curated these little shopping guides for different demographics of people, as well as different price points. And that's just become a really good connector that people look forward to getting from me, just for the different ideas. And it's a fun way just to, to share the things that I love with other people.
And you can also include your products in those guides. When you're suggesting complementary products to people that are outside of your brand that could benefit your customers or benefit the people in your network, it demonstrates that you're really focused on their needs, and they're going to scroll. And then eventually one of those things could be the product that you're selling. But again, you are not your brand. Your brand is a part of you, and your brand is a part of this list. And you might not even create a guide that has anything to do with products. It just might be something that people come to you for and that you are known for giving advice for. Every holiday season, people are always asking me about grammar advice. How do I sign my last name on my Christmas card? How do I pluralize my last name for this house sign that I'm getting, my neighbor or my mom and dad? That's what they know me for. So I have a little guide that I've created on boards that has little suggestions, little tips for grammar, and I can just shoot that out to them. But again, it's adding value. And so they're going to be coming back to me when I do recommend my product, and they're going to think of me first.
I think that's a good transition too, from saying adding value is very similar to building trust, right? That you want your audience to trust you and trust the things that you're sharing. Because when you only share about one thing, and it's always asking for a sale of something, it just becomes like those commercials we're all hearing right now over and over and over again on our TVs, right? It needs to be it needs to, like, once you become the expert in that, and once they trust you in that, then they're gonna look to you for advice or input on things like grammar, or things like how to feed people that 8 people, and all that kind of stuff.
So think about it right now, you guys, as you're taking notes and kind of strategizing. What is it when it comes to the holidays? Because the holidays are hard for people, right? There's a lot to do. What is your thing, if you have one? Is it decorating the tree? Is it wrapping a gift? If it is, please tell Jamie and I, because we'd like to come to your tutorial. Is it cooking? Do you have a recipe? Are you great at baking? Do you have a really great stocking stuffer idea? What is your thing that you can use to provide educational content or that value added piece?
I love the tie-in to the real life person, because that's the difference, right? Because you can go anywhere to buy absolutely anything, and maybe your brand has something that might not be the most giftable product. It might be something that's more of a personal consumption product, but it's probably, maybe it's not on the top of everybody's must-have list for the season. But exactly what you said, both of you, it's all about the long game here, right? So it's really about the long game of developing who do I think about when I think about gifting? Who do I think about? Because guess what? I promise you it's not the person who cold calls, spams their inbox and tells them to buy stuff from me. Heather, you made an absolutely so incredible point here when you were like, Heather, I don't know if you know anything, you might not know anything about Heather, but if you look up Heather on any social media, Heather is the grammar police. And she was in my, and so this is really what tells the story. I've known Heather and Jamie for about 8 years now, I think. And when I got married, Heather's face, when I closed my eyes, I had Heather's face in my eyeball, like in my eyelids, telling me no apostrophe at the end of your name. When you're putting your name, if like of an O, O at the end of your name, like you don't put an apostrophe S. If you're going to put this on, like we had a dance floor, right? So my relationship with Heather, I don't talk to Heather every day. We don't catch up. Jamie and Heather catch up on coffee talks all the time. We get to preview some of them on their social media, luckily. But the thing is that I go to them in my head, maybe not physically, but I go to them in my head because I know who they are as people. And that's where when you start to create, I love this idea of gift guides and boards or your grammar guide. It's not about your business per se, but it's about the person that you are and the relationship you build with people. So it's an absolutely incredible way to add that value. Oh, Heather's sending me something. It's not just her shopping link for me to spend money. That's all she wants is to sell her stuff. I'm learning from Heather. I find value in my relationship with Heather.
Well, thank you. And I'm glad your wedding sign was appropriately punctuated.
Exactly. And we can share their links too, for sure, if you want to follow the ladies. But now here's the biggest kicker, right? Boards with web pages, you can make these incredible guides. You can even give them the link. I've done this for myself when my husband goes, I don't know what to buy you for your birthday. So I made my own shopping guide for myself and said, here, you can do this. And so I didn't even have to pick the color out because I picked exactly the link that took me to the right color and the right size. And so I can put my links in my boards. But then how do you get these guides into people's hands and say, hey, you can try to shop this? Because I might not think to ask you, Heather, can I have your shopping guide for this year, until that becomes like your thing, right?
Right. Well, I think it's knowing your audience and looking and doing an audit and saying, okay, so Jamie, right, we have a best gifts to give to teenagers this year. So she's kind of going through and she'll be able to say, hey, Susie, I know you've got teenagers. I put this together. She can have a script already prepared in boards, so she doesn't even have to retype it. And she can just shoot that script over to Susie in Susie's inbox and say, not sure if you're interested in this, and you've got a lot of kiddos like me, same ages. I put this together with some of my favorite suggestions. Hope you enjoy. Let me know which ones you might be using for your kids. Now, in that list will perhaps be embedded one of the products that we sell, because we have products that help teenagers. So it's all about adding that value and showing up there. And can you imagine if you're Susie and you open that up and you think, wow, okay, this just made my life easier. And that was so sweet for Jamie to think of me. And it doesn't seem like Jamie's out there trying to get the sale. She's really trying to help.
I think too, you can think through, like QR codes are really popular right now. So if you're donating products anywhere, to have a QR code to shopping guides on them, or if you're sending out cards, to have a QR code to your shopping guide on them. I update my email signature often, because that's how I communicate with all of my 6 kids' school teachers and administrators. And you never know who's clicking on your email signature links. I think just anywhere you're communicating, to keep yourself open to how to share what it is you're excited about, or what kind of value you can add others. That's not just your store. That's an opportunity to get your boards in front of them.
I love these tips. And I think at some point, Jamie, you even said if you have a catalog, do the same thing. So
Yes.
you have a catalog, and you could print out put the sticker with the QR code, put your guides on there. And you could even create a page. If you only have one shot, right? You have one link. Maybe you don't know who's going to scan it. So you could make a page that has Jamie's mom, best gifts for moms, best gifts for teens, best gifts for best friends. And you can offer all of these solutions in there. But I think the biggest thing is that what you're saying is, so what I've heard you maybe say throughout our conversations is, I'm going to address one of this comments here, but if it's relevant, include your product. If it's forcing and it doesn't make sense, and you sell, I don't want to make any assumptions here, but if you sell products that are just for dogs, let's be really specific. If you sell products that are only for dogs, but you're trying to make a teenage gift guide, and then you put dog shampoo on there, I feel like it's not going to resonate. It's not going to make a lot of sense, right? So at this point, what you really could do is that I'm going to give you this gift guide for dogs. And then that person, you could give them an offer, say, hey, look, Jamie, Heather, I know you both have dogs. Let me send you my gift guide for dogs. I get nothing out of this. This is just something I have a passion for and I love it. And then they're, oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much. You've initiated a conversation. You've perhaps started a new relationship that you haven't really spent a lot of time or really have had a chance to grow, because it's hard to meet new people. Okay, first of all, adulting is very hard to put yourself out there and meet new people. But if you have something common ground to talk about, I have a dog, Heather has a dog, Jamie has a dog. So if I say, this season, I went crazy, bought Scout, everything under the sun, and I did so much research. These were my top 10 things. I don't want this research to go to waste. Check out my holiday gift guide for your dogs. And that can start you a conversation. And then maybe as that conversation grows and develops, then you can say, hey, I have a gift guide for moms too. And then maybe that's where you include your product, right? Or did I do that backwards?
Mm-hmm.
I think I did that backwards.
Yeah.
But if you do it back, but you see what I'm saying? So you can then open the gate to show them products that do make sense. So somebody over here says, how do I have hobbies and I feel like I post a bunch of random things that they're not going to know that you sell shampoo. Well, I think it's about context, right? It's about the story that you're telling. So if you do have a lot of hobbies and you do have a lot of random things, maybe every third or fourth reel or post, or, if you like to bake, maybe you just say, hey guys, I love to bake and I love sharing my baking videos, but today I really want to try doing a hair video because I've never done a hair video before, right? Like, is that what you were kind of saying, Jamie and Heather, when you were trying to like tell your story online, that you don't want every story to be a hair story just because you sell hair story. You're more than your hair story, right?
Correct. You're so much more. And I think, there's somebody that Jamie and I have followed for years online, and she never shows her face. She's an influencer, but she does not take any paid, what's it called?
Sponsorships or
sponsorships. She just shares things that she likes and things that she doesn't like. And she has cost me so much money because I trust her. And there's nothing that she's ever recommended that I'm not going to use. And it ranges. It's a gamut of things. But I'm telling you what, if she came out with a hair care line today, I don't care what it was made of. I would buy it because everything she's ever recommended to me is something I personally used and personally love. And she wasn't, at least back in the day, making money from any of those things. She was just doing a service. And so, the person who was talking about selling shampoo, again, I know it seems counterintuitive, but it really does go back to trust. The more you can get people to trust your recommendations about things you're actually not getting paid for, the more they're going to trust your recommendation about the thing you are getting paid for. They're not dumb. They know that you're there, and nobody gets on social media to be sold to. It's a great place to sell, but that's not why we log on. We log on to learn things, to be entertained, to scroll, whatever it might be. But it starts there with them trusting you as a person enough to buy your shampoo.
And to be inspired, right? Like they go to be, you go to be inspired, and really are just looking for you're looking for the whole package in somebody. People get boring if they do the same song and dance every time they're on social media. You're like, okay, we get it. Like, there's only so much you can talk about in one particular. We want to see like the multifaceted part of people. We want to see your family. We want to see, you messing up, because that's just not real life. Right? Like, that's not the real life of people just living this fake Instagram aesthetic. And that's why I think the biggest followings and most people are the realest people.
Yeah, for sure.
That's who I follow, at least.
Me too, for sure. But let's talk about, we also talked about another way that you can, what you should start thinking about right now is really about, okay, so we talked about a few things: mindset, value add for your customers, starting to thinking about it now. If you haven't posted in a long time, don't post in 3 weeks that you have a Black Friday sale. Yeah. Nobody's going to see that, right? Like, nobody's going to care. They're going to be like, oh, here she goes again. She wants us to buy stuff, right? Start posting now. Start being vulnerable and start sharing who you are. Like, guys, can you believe that we only have, Heather, we should have did a countdown count before, how many days, before Christmas, or how many days before the last day of shipping before the holidays, or what are these things? Like, start talking about your life and the things that you're going to go through, and start thinking about how you're going to start being more relevant to more people. And if you are a little bit shy and you might not want to do the reach out and say, hey, I've started holiday gift guide. Does anybody want me to send it to you? And you can just do something like that. And then if they say, yeah, I'd love to see it, just maybe that will help your confidence boosting too. Send it to your best friends and say, guys, what do you think of my gift guide? I made this on boards, and here's the link. Or will you test my holiday gift guide and make sure all the links work? Like, you can start, putting yourself out there inch by inch and really start to, and your friends are going to go, oh, where you thought about this gift guide? Like, that's so cool. Thank you. I'm going to use it. Right. And you're really going to start helping you. It's a confidence builder, right? People are going to give you positive feedback and you're going to start sharing and you're going to start getting it into people's hands. But let's think about one more thing. Holiday comes. We have the next about 3 weeks. Thanksgiving's going to come. Black Friday's going to come. And then December kind of goes, yeah. And you don't know, like, how do you continue to drive that momentum through December?
So 2 things that I always talk about with my teams ahead of the holiday season is number one, I think it is really important that you set time to work and time not to work. Both are equally as important. If you don't set time to work, you won't work. And if you don't set time not to work, you'll feel like you're always working. And so being really intentional about, knowing what your calendar is, knowing when the school parties are, knowing when you want to take a day off or a week off or however much time, like setting that down ahead of time. So that you are committing a little bit of time every day, whether it's 30 minutes in the morning or, an hour on Sunday, whatever it looks like for you and your business, that you are committed to that time because it will get away from you very quickly in the month of December. And then the second thing is one of my favorite things to do in the holidays is really focus on my loyal customers, the people who have already purchased from me. And have already kind of, caught the buzz of what it is I'm trying to help them with. And so I look for different ways to thank them, whether it's with a Starbucks gift card, again, something you can have in a script and the voucher saved in your boards, whether it's maybe a sample of another product that you have that they haven't tried yet. Or something new that's coming out, you can reward them in little ways just by saying thank you, that they're already your customer and they've already really helped your business grow. Make it personal. Heather, you want to tell the story about the Christmas card?
Oh, yeah. So again, you want to focus on not only getting that new business, right, but making sure that when push comes to shove and money's getting tighter on the holidays, that your customers aren't saying, oh, okay, cancel. You want to do everything you can to not have them hit the cancel button. So there was somebody who was a rep from a different company, and she sent a card one year, and it was a card from her children. It was a picture of her kids at summer camp. And on the back, they wrote, "Thank you so much for supporting my mom's business this year. The extra funds that she made in business allowed us to be able to go to camp, and my sister did horseback riding." And they listed out the things that her business income went to. And I was like, wow, it felt so personal. It felt like not only was I, making a difference in my own life by buying these products, but I felt like I was really making a difference in her family and the lives of her children. And so when it comes time to cancel, you think I'm going to cancel that subscription? Absolutely not, because those kids have to go to camp. For goodness sakes, like, I'm going to keep going. So whatever we can do to show those loyal customers that we appreciate them, because you guys, losing a customer is really expensive. It adds up. So if we can keep them going through December and make sure that they know that they're appreciated, it's going to go a long way then and in the next year.
Yeah, I just wanted to say too, if I can kind of go rogue for a minute on Susan, who's saying that it's the first time at 60 and she's learning all this new stuff. Well, congratulations to you. That is really brave and bold and beautiful. So keep doing those things. And also just encourage you that this business model has been around since like the 40s and 50s, before we had any of these really cool tools and fancy resources. So it doesn't have to look like Canva, and it doesn't have to be scheduled and calendared. This business model, guys, comes down to connections and conversations consistently. In whichever manner and method you can do that, then you can have a successful business. If you have connections and conversations consistently, it doesn't matter how old you are or how many followers you have on social media or how many boards you use to send out. None of it matters as long as you're having those connections and conversations. And I know, I think some of my most successful partners that were experienced in age were the best at that. Because having those conversations in person is what they're really good at. And my age and younger kind of refuse to pick up the phone. I would rather text you. So I think lean in on that newness, and just keep having conversations.
100%. It's always about the connection. It's you both started this conversation about the value that you bring to somebody, and that comes from the human connection. That becomes who you are. That doesn't become your brand, like the brand that you are working with and partnering with. It's about you, because I bet you there is not one product that I couldn't find a similar replacement to go walk into X, Y, and Z store and find something comparable. But people in this business, especially, they connect with somebody and they create their business and they make a purchase based on you and not always the product itself. Yes, there are definitely attractions and products that are really high quality, 100%. But the reason is they want to buy this product is because it's you. Are you more likely to buy something from, as a recommended product, or are you like the person who, like, I use this and had great results kind of person? Yeah, I want that. It's like when Harry met Sally, and I'll have what she's having, because that's the testimony, right? And that becomes the personal part of this business. And I think that that's the key. So if your conversations, if they're with a few people because you're talking to them face to face on the phone or texting with just a few people versus trying to drive a full social media business, the key is the value and the quality of those conversations. And that could be the game changer for you.
Absolutely.
I did want to address, there was 2 more questions, and I love this question. I'm going to bring this up from Susan. So ladies, big question for you. How do you fix your following when you broke it for years and already lost trust? How do you get it back? Susan, thank you. Thank you for sharing with us. Susan is coming in with some really she's coming in hot. So
I love Susan. You know what, Susan? You are not the only person that has had that happen to. We went through a season, and by we, I mean all people in network marketing went through a season where it was a different world. And sometimes there are people who did lose that trust. My best advice to you would be own it. Own it all day long, and be transparent with the people that you're speaking to, and say, guys, you know what? Do you believe in the quote, know better, do better? I know better now. And I didn't do better then. Or I'm going to do better now. I didn't do a great job then. So here's what I've learned. I've learned that you don't want to be sold to on social media. I've learned that you guys don't want to come on here and just see my pictures all day long. I've learned that it's important to interact, and I want to get back to that. I want you to enjoy coming to Susan's page. So I'm going to be adding all kinds of fun content. Just own it. You will never go wrong.
Own the oops is what we always said. And that's everything from Heather's example to forgetting to follow up to, just saying like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That is not how I like to run my business. I totally forgot to follow up with you. My bad. But owning the oops just takes all of the pressure off of you, and just kind of levels that playing field again.
Absolutely. And it's kind of like if somebody says to you, look, hey, I totally dropped that ball. Does that give you more value in that conversation, that person as a human being? Mm-hmm. I'd be like, we all do it. Thank you so much. Cause I had probably messed up 16 times today already. So I get it, but thank you for, bringing that up. Catalina says, we have 2 questions very similar to this. Catalina says, I'm shy to offer my products to people, and how do I avoid that? And then Carrie, love Carrie, she says, connection and conversation, my biggest struggle. I feel weird just chatting with people randomly. like, what are the top tips that you have that help people struggle in this department?
I think it starts with just being curious about other people, being curious about other people's stories. My like mantra in life is that stories are our superpower, and they're really what connect us to everyone else. Heather and I love a good story. Like, sit down and tell me a story. And so when you're curious about other people's stories, they naturally become curious about yours. And I think it's just being authentic. That maybe live on social media for you, if you're shy, is not the best place to start. Maybe it's a voice note, so that people can hear your authentic heart and why you're excited to share about it. But finding ways to make those authentic connections that seem real and vulnerable to yourself will help people trust you.
And again, to the question ahead of that said, I'm shy to talk about my products, I'm going to give the same answer that I gave to the last question. Own it. I was coaching a partner on our team the other day, and she was announcing her business on social media. And she said, I'm nervous. I'm really nervous to do this. And she said, and I think I'm actually going to go live on Facebook. And I said, okay. She goes, and I'm really, it makes me super uncomfortable. And I said, you know what? Go live and tell everybody that's on there, I'm really nervous about this, you guys. I'm really scared. Like, I don't usually come live. Thank you for supporting me. Okay, I know you guys are my friends. Here it goes. And that's exactly what she did. She showed up as her authentic self. And when you own that I'm a little uncomfortable, people love that vulnerability, because guess what? Everybody's nervous going live, and everybody's nervous at first sharing the products that they have. So I would say to a friend, if I'm nervous talking about it, you know what, Jamie, I've got to tell you about this product. I'm a little uncomfortable sharing because I don't feel like a natural salesperson, but I love this and I believe in it. And here's why. Start there with the truth and you'll never go wrong.
You know what? Being like, the underlying tone of all of this is embracing who you are. Don't try to push yourself into what you think you should be. Be who you are, create value to people through your own passions, hobbies, and who you are, because that's what attracting people to you is. Now, are some of those people going to be customers? Sure. Are a lot of them not? Absolutely. But what's going to happen is that you are going to build a following based on your true inner self, who you are, what you do, what you offer to people. And at that point, it has to become easier because you're not trying to fit a mold. You are showing up as yourself every single day.
Yeah.
I do have a few more questions. Let me pop over here. So, and I can address these on the technical side here with boards. So TJ asks about email marketing campaign. If you're using like a constant contact, this is a great place to enter your link to your guides. So what you can do is create your email that says, every season I put, this is my favorite season of the year. This is, I love shopping in general. So I have some guides if you want to learn more. This is just part of who I am and how, you're feeding your funnel of service, right? You can say, check out my shopping guides, and you can link them out based on category or whatever, how you want your calls to action, but create the story in the email that's more of the service. Why are you sending this? Not just shop here, but like, hey, this is a passion of mine. I love, like Jamie, it's like, I love to shop. I might not be a good rapper. And if that's your story, TJ, you could be like, look, this is my best shot at rapping. I put this in an email for you, and here's my gift to you this season. Here's a few of my shopping guides. And it's a great way to, make your email list smile a little bit, make them say, oh, there's a person behind here. And you can, link in your boards, your gift guides as some call to actions in your emails for sure.
Can I just comment here? I'm looking at the comments and all these people saying, I sell this. I don't know how to, talk to people about this. But one that stands out to me, because it's a perfect example, is Bobby. Bobby said, I'm a safety educator and I sell personal protection pepper spray, stun guns, and more. Okay. How do I bring that up? People seem intimidated by the topic. So I would use your expertise as a safety educator. And I'd be popping on my stories. I'd be sharing tips about the holidays. Hey guys, here's what you can do to protect yourself when you're parking at a shopping mall, and just give other tips that don't necessarily have anything to do with the products you sell, because again, you're building that trust. And that goes for almost every single question that I've seen in here. Give tips outside of the product and you will become the expert on that topic.
100%. I think it's all about, like, make them really specific tips, make them more general tips, and kind of go, wait, this guy knows what they're talking about. So if this guy's giving me these tips, especially this time of year, this is a big time of year for another business that might not be quite as kosher as this business that we're in. And this is where people tend, crime rates go up and things like that. This is the perfect time of year to start providing tips when shopping at the mall, or where are you putting all of your gifts when you're putting them in your car, like things that we don't think about, like tips for parking under lights or things like that. Like, you're really being able to provide people a ton of power in your knowledge, and really creating that story about, this person knows what they're talking. I didn't even think about that. And they go, oh my gosh, they really know what they're talking about. Let me drive over here. We're not going to get into, and thank you, Heather. We don't have the time to get into every single person's specific business, but I want to make sure that I give, just making sure we're hitting any other specific questions. There we go. I think we got to most of the questions. So I think in general, the biggest takeaway from this is start now. Start talking about things that bring value to your following, and make sure that it's authentic. So don't try to make up some kind of value that, is just trying to fit the square peg in the round hole. If you really love baking, but you happen to sell shampoo, keep baking. Don't stop baking, keep baking, but just have really good looking hair when you do it, and be like, look, whew, my hair made it through my 8-hour cookie baking session. Want my hair tips? You can shop my hair guide. Like, there's different ways to link these things together that really tell the full story of you, because I promise you, and I know these ladies, they are so complex in the most beautiful way, that it's not just one thing about them that attracts people to them. They have so many parts of, like, Heather is the grammar police. Jamie has the house full of teenagers that just, and adopted children and a beautiful family. And she has so much more than that. She's got her business, her dogs, and the same with Heather. So it's all about creating the whole story about you. And what we're going to do is drop you some links to some ideas of gift guides. You can copy them. You can grab some scripting in there and show some ideas that we've worked together to create just for you, to grab onto that content, copy it into your own, make it your own, and really start providing value to your customers now. Start thinking about how to share now. Share those voice recordings. Take your first voice recording, pop it into your board, and how would you talk about your product? Then listen to it. And then maybe you go, okay, in a few weeks, you listen to it again and you go, I feel so much better about saying that now. Let me record a new one. Like, start to think about the ways that you can grow and become valuable to each other and be to your following. And I have to thank you. The crowd is going wild. I feel like we would have a standing ovation right now. So many thank yous to Jamie and Heather for sharing their invaluable ideas. All of this content is 100% curated from these two ladies who've been working together hand in hand. And we will share the link here. We'll also share that in the following email with our recording. So if everybody could give us a big round of applause for our guests here, Jamie and Heather, if you could drop some beautiful comments here for us, just to
Thank
say
you
thank you to them. Thank you so much, ladies. And stay tuned for our future sessions and more to learn here from Boards.
Thanks. Happy holidays.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you guys so much. And we'll see you next time here at Boards.